It is the Martha Zoller Show. It's so great to talk about this subject. It's a hard subject, okay? But we're joined right now to talk about preventing human trafficking, saving people from human trafficking with Zach Norman, who's the development strategist for Love Justice International. And there's an event going on tomorrow that we'll tell you about, so be prepared for that. But we're going to talk about it first. Welcome.
Hey.
How are
you?
you?
To be here. Good. So
Good.
glad to be here.
So tell us about Love Justice and how you got involved.
Yeah, so Love Justice, it originally started in 2004. And what we started with was care for orphaned and abandoned children. We still have what's called family homes, fully caring for and providing for 180 children. That's in Bangladesh and Nepal. We also have our Dream School that originated from that first focus, caring for those people. We have 225 students in those Dream Schools. That's in Nepal. And in 2006 is where we started focusing on anti-human trafficking and our real-time prevention method called transit monitoring.
So help people understand, because I think most people have only become aware of this in the last 4 or 5 years since we've had such huge crossings at the border. And while obviously it was around before that, we saw an exponential increase in numbers during that period of time. So explain to people really what this is. What is human trafficking?
Yeah, so human trafficking can be a variety of things, whether that's forced labor, organ harvesting, sex trafficking. And so for Love Justice, we have collectively served 31 different countries since 2006 with our anti-human trafficking work. Right now we are in 19, and a lot of work in Asia, West Africa, East Africa, South Africa, and what we do is this real-time prevention towards people who are at a border crossing, a bus station, a railway, an airport, about to be sold into slavery, right? So they've been promised some opportunity that's too good to be true, whether that's a false marriage, right, or a false job, right? They're being promised like a very high pay rate that's much higher than usual, and it sounds too good to be true. And unfortunately, vulnerable people are preyed upon, and they go to those points of transit to where they don't know they're about to be trafficked into one of those situations. And
you try to prevent that. You try to stop it there instead of on the streets here.
Yes, exactly. So it's at those points of transit, and so that's why we call our solution transit monitoring, right? So we have at 58 different stations in 19 countries. We have about, last year was 285 different transit monitors, right? So our transit monitors are highly trained to spot those indicating factors for human trafficking at those points of transit, right, where there's a lot of trafficking happening. And so they're present at these transit monitoring stations with permission of local authorities to spot those, then to go approach individuals and verify if these are in fact high-risk situations. So they have a whole, intercept protocol that they go through, an intercept record form to go in a very, very robust way, verifying if these are actually high-risk situations or not, and then determine whether it's necessary to detain the individuals, all of that, and get a big data collection over a span of 2 hours, right, with a trafficker. With the victim. And we use that data to inform what we do with all of our data science and intelligence. And that's why we've been able to scale what we do into all the countries that we have served.
So where is your presence in the United States?
So we do not personally have any presence in the United States.
Okay.
And a lot of people ask us that because, I work here from the States.
Yes.
I'm from here, right? We have stateside staff, and then we have international staff. We have collective 365 staff between both of those, right? So our stateside team is a smaller portion of that, especially since we're not the ones on the ground. We're the part of the fundraising and marketing initiatives, right, and partnerships, which is what I get to do. But It's simply because it's much more expensive to do what we do here in the U.S. And thankfully, there are much higher security standards. A lot of these nations that we're serving are underdeveloped nations, right? Third world countries. And so thankfully we get to, provide our solution to that.
Now, you hear all the time, and you may not know, that Atlanta is a huge hub
Yeah.
for trafficking. People come because we're such a huge transportation hub. Do you see that in the data that you have?
So the data that we are using is all from what we have deployed in the field. I'm not going to, say that there's nothing related to Atlanta, the state of Georgia, the U.S. that we don't use. I'm not on the data science and intelligence side, right? So there's more complexities there with our team that, our senior, director of anti-trafficking that can get into all the complexities of that side. However, what we have been able to observe and scale is from those 19 countries that we're in, the 31 that we've served, right? And that's those pilots that we perform is where we perform real data-driven, tangible, impactful solutions.
So, and have you seen, I would assume that with what's happened with our own borders over the last 4 years, that in these places around the world that are coming in, have you seen an uptick in this kind of traffic coming to the United States, and you've had to intervene in those situations?
Again, we are inviting opportunities to be in the U.S., absolutely, to be in the state of Georgia, to be at a city level in Atlanta, where we are, located, a number of us, and how might we position ourselves to use the data-driven, real, tangible impact solution that we have
this is
towards
exciting.
Local, national, and international.
Well, and this is exciting because what you want to do with this is stop it before it happens.
Yes.
Because the cost of rehabilitating someone and to get them out of that life is astronomical, and there's something that they will never get back if they end up being sold into this kind of life.
Yes.
And we want to think that it doesn't happen here, but we know that it does.
Yes.
And, I call it 21st century slavery because it doesn't matter if it happens here or some other country. These are people that have this exorbitant debt to pay back to their trafficker, which they're never going to pay because it's stacked against them. There's no way they can work hard enough. There's no way they can work long enough to be able to pay it back. So they're basically sold into slavery in a 21st century way.
Yes. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary. It's very scary because you do have these things that come up all the time. And I know that probably the little text messages you get on your phone, but I get these job offers on my phone. People go, I've had the same phone number for 30 years. I get these weird text messages from some random place, saying, oh, we've got these jobs. You have to work like 10 hours a day and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I just delete. But I'm sure to somebody who's either just starting out, hasn't been in the workforce, maybe is desperate, maybe is, they might go, wow, this is digital, so it must be real.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a big problem.
Yeah. And, the one way that we are letting people know that we can start being that solution in the U.S. is through the means of technology that we have used, right? And so we've done some pilots even in this last year and had a number of successes in South Africa that are on the digital intercept model, right? So we have our data solution Searchlight. There have been even prominent banks that have used that for financial crime investigations. But the digital intercepts is what addresses exactly what you're mentioning, the false job opportunities, right? And how do you use data scraping, a number of things to intercept people digitally versus what we do on the field at transit monitoring stations.
So I have a friend of mine whose daughter works for the GBI doing kind of monitoring of social media for things like human trafficking, trying to recruit people into human trafficking and that kind of thing. And it's had a huge impact on her and the way she sees the world. I mean, she's trained in it, so she's able to do it, but she looks at the world differently now than she did before. How do you all at Love Justice, because I got to believe you've been doing this a long time, I got to believe that there is a price you pay for seeing these very seedy parts of human nature.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. I think it's a matter of, for me personally, just filling myself with hope.
Yes.
And with faith.
And looking at the wins.
And tapping into, for myself, we are a Christian faith-based organization. It's a big part of our culture, our values, everything that we're about. Our mission is to share the love of Jesus Christ, to fight the world's greatest injustices. So, but there's this quote from this pastor out in San Francisco. He says, his name's Ben Pilgrim, and he has this quote. He says, "You cannot maintain an external life that your internal life has not cultivated," right? And so if we don't just cultivate even the things that haven't happened yet, that come from a place of faith and hope and expectation of what is good and what will be redeemed and restored and what is possible, what might be the opposite of what was, but what will be. That is what will be. That is what I will imagine and what I will focus on and cultivate daily and believe what is possible. And that is what has sown seeds that have now reaped a harvest of this organization that has intercepted over 85,000 people now after, from 2006 to now. That's the reality that we're now living in because of that same expectation.
And I like to use the analogy when you talk about 85,000 people that it's like a rock in the water and the ripples go out. So you save that one person or that 85,000 people. How many more lives does that impact in a positive way because you did that? And it's you put the rock in the water and it ripples out. And I think that's a positive thing.
And one compelling point of data and findings in this last year provided by Walk Free that's done a study of Love Justice and a number of other anti-human trafficking organizations. They have seen in 17 countries where Love Justice operates that there is a 5% decrease annually in global slavery prevalence compared to any countries outside of those 17. There is an annual increase in global slavery prevalence by 12%. And what's another part that's significant about that is the fact that, between 2018 and 2021, and first I'll just say that in anti-human trafficking, every portion of this entire sector is important to invest into. Education and awareness, real-time prevention like we do, and then post-care and recovery, crisis, all of that stuff, right? So in all other efforts other than real-time prevention, there was over $500 million invested into those other portions. And so only $15 million was allocated in that same span of time towards real-time prevention. Yet we're seeing that data that is shifting from real-time prevention where people are being intercepted. They don't go into slavery and they don't go through the irreparable trauma of slavery. And then we're seeing that 5% decrease. So it's very powerful and very tangible, and it's very affordable for people to invest in.
So you've got an event coming up tomorrow. Tell us about that.
So we have this event series debuting tomorrow at Hotel Indigo Vinings, Atlanta. It's called 25 in 25. And so 25 in 25 is to amplify local global impact through blockchain and AI innovation with 25 other companies in the year 25.
Yes.
And it's amazing. We got a lot of people that have RSVP'd. We got a lot of great, companies in blockchain and AI that have partnered with us, others that are attending, and a lot of great media partners like this that have partnered with us for it as well. So we're just going to be talking about very, very simply, how can the innovators come together And, whether you're for profit, nonprofit, you're for innovation and you're for impact. And so this is a multidisciplinary, a collaborative effort to actually innovate to see real impact, right?
So
and it's happening here in Atlanta.
Can people still sign up to come?
They can, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a Hotel Indigo Atlanta in Vinings. You can go to Love Justice. I'm sure you have a website, right?
Yep, .ngo/25 and 25.
That's right. And then you can click on the link and you can register if you still want to come to that at 6 to 8 tomorrow night. I know there's a lot going on in May. I get it. If you got kids, you hate May, okay, because you're doing something every single day.
That's right.
But think about this. If you don't, go to the website and learn about it, because it's important that you do that. I have learned a lot today, and Zach Norman, I appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.